Hi and welcome to the craft station. I'm Elisa behind the camera and this is my miniature house Soho time build series.
Oh boy!
Hi and welcome back to my miniature house build series Soho time. So let's make a start and actually building it. So I suppose you could call this episode 1, as the last episode was the what's in the box. So I'm going to make a start building the table in this video. Not quite sure how long it's going to take because, like I say, I've never ever done anything like this before, but you can watch with me as I make my way through it. All the fluff ups as well. So here we are, the table. As you can see, it looks pretty cool. Modern style table. We're going to need 2 bits of the wood. This is just a piece of paper that we have to glue on, a few other bits and pieces, the cables, it tells you which bags everything is in as well. So let's make a start getting all the bits together and get my cutting board out, and I shall be right back. Okay, so I've got my cutting mat, I've got the tools that I'm going to need, so obviously scalpel. Little tip, this when I used this scalpel before, because it's so metal, when I'm putting pressure here trying to cut things, obviously ends up hurting my finger. So I have pinched one of these little covers off I had a couple of diamond art pens that had these on, so I've slid that on as best as I could, and it just makes it a little bit easier to grip onto and hold. So handy little tip, strap it in. I don't know, if you use something else, please leave a comment what you use. Handy little tips. Wire cutters when I come to cut this, and it's saying light grainy paper. There is some in there, but it's a tiny little square, so I'm gonna pinch one of these. It's very smooth, well, smooth. I've got others in case I need a bit more of a grain, and then obviously the glue. I'll need a pair of scissors as well to cut the end off that once I'm ready. Let's make a start. So the first part I need is a 4. So I'll come over here. So this is a panel with all the wood, a bit like the wooden builds that I've made before. Golden snitch, that's the one I was thinking of. Obviously these parts, there's no letters or anything on here. So you go to a little diagram, and A4 is this part here. So very, very carefully just pop it out without breaking it. It seems a bit stiff, so just gently with the scalpel. It'll fit. Oh, it won't fit. There we go. Give it a bit of a spin. So that's A4. Now the next part I need is A5. So A5 is that bit here. So again, very, very gently pull it out without damaging the wood. There we go. There we go. So I'll pop that out of the way because I don't need that anymore. So there we go. What I will do before I start cutting papers to flip my board over. There we go. So the next thing I need is this paper, which, as you can see, it's a bit of a woody grain on it. And then the thick black wire, which is in bag number 5. So when I was doing the what's in a box, I did wonder what this was, and this is the wire. So I'll put that back out of there. So it's just a big length of, yeah, it is quite sturdy. So now, one thing I forgot, oh look, sorry, smiley face, me being silly. What I do need, and I forgot, is a ruler. So I should be right back and we'll measure out this piece ready as per this bit here and get these cut. Okay, so I got the ruler and I made a start cutting out the paper, but I've already made my first boo-boo. So basically the sheet was a lot bigger than what you need for this part, because further on it's also used for the cabinet and something else as well, and another cabinet. So I tried to cut the size that I needed for this particular part, and because I'm not used to using the scalpel, even though I'd measured 2 or 3 times, thought I'd got it right, I ended up going a bit skew-whiff with this. So the top part was the right size, which was 82 millimeters. So that fits on there perfectly, because it doesn't actually need one on the bottom, just the top. But then I came to cut these, because further down it was down to 80 millimeters. It's literally, that part fits okay, but then underneath it's too short. So again, not too bad, because what I can do is I can use that from the bottom, and then that, like so, can go as it's the drawer here. I can use that inside, so as it would go like, oh gosh, like that. So that's not too bad. Second boo-boo, these 2 parts I cut from the wrong side. So now, again, because of the boo-boo, this is only, well, it's even less than 80 millimeters. So I basically needed to cut long lengths to go along the edges here to glue on to the edges. I could use this part, but like I say, this is for other pieces later on. So what I'm going to do is cut this bit off here, have a little think, and come back to you once I've decided how to approach this. I shall be right back. Okay, so what I've decided to do is there is some white pigment. I've checked through the instructions and it's not actually used for an awful lot. Plus I have a pile of acrylic white paint that I can water down anyway. So what I am going to do before I glue the wood grain pattern paper onto it, I'm going to carefully paint the edges all white. I've given them a good sanding down so that they're all nice and smooth. I've got my very, very thin, well, not very thin, but it's as you can see, it's like that. So if I'm very careful and go sideways, lengthways, should be okay. and then hopefully that will look alright. So let's see how much paint we actually, oh gosh, seal tub? Should have had a look first. Let's see, don't want too much on the paintbrush. So just very, very gently, because obviously I don't want it to go too much over the edges, or else the grain and the wood will be distorted as well. But I can always, oh gosh, so if I do it that way, and at least if it's on the underside it won't be too bad. So yeah, just going to do a few coats of this until it's white, and then it'll look a bit more modern. I know it won't be exactly what's on the box, but it's a learning curve. Need to get some practice in with the scalpel, so as I don't make, I might do that at some point before I do the next lot that I've got to actually start cutting into. So you get the general gist of it. I'm going to see it's going to be soaking in, so I'm going to need quite a few coats of this. So I'll get this done and I'll be back once it's all nice and white. And I'm back. So what I've been doing is painting the edges, and they're all nice and white now. And the same with this one. And in between coats, because they took about 12, feels like 100, but they did take quite a few coats, I cut out the wire, as you can see here, to the relevant lengths, so they are all ready for bending. So what I'm going to be doing next is gluing the relevant bits onto the wood, and then obviously that can then be drying and setting while I do the twiddly bits. So I'm not too sure what this glue is like, whether it's very, very runny or not. So I'll be very, very careful, and hopefully it won't come out in a big rush. So I'll leave it at that for now. Get this lined up, because obviously when you come to push it down it might ooze out of the edges, so make sure that's nice and lined. And obviously there's going to be a couple of little places where they need a little bit more. That's probably a bit too much, and if it oozes out, so there we go, it is starting to ooze a little. So let me get this kitchen roll here. Wipe off the excess. So that's that one done. Now let me get the one that I cut to the right size. Just that one. I did say this was going to be a learning curve, because I've never done anything like this before at all. But I suppose it's a good thing if I make the mistakes, so that if you decide to do the kit, learn by it. So last piece, which is the piece that I cut too short, so So I need to try and put that in the middle. So because it's the wrong size, I'm going to dab this on to the actual paper instead this time. So there we go, that's those parts on. I'll just give that a bit of a clean before I put the lid on. There we go. So I shall put them to one side and we'll have a look at sorting out these cables. And I'm back. So sorted out some, not sure what they're called, soon figure these terms out. I have my magnifying glasses on so I can see a little bit better, because obviously these numbers are so tiny. So I need 17.5 millimeters, sorry. So half a millimeter is not going to be the easiest. Hope I've got that right. Good thing about the wire though, I suppose, if you get it measurements slightly wrong, it's not too bad. So there's that. So I need 20 millimeters now for this bit. Try and straighten it out as best I can, which is about there. There we go. That. So double check. Like I say, it's going to be hit and miss. So there we go. That's 2 centimeters or 20 millimeters. So now this one needs to be 33. So I'll grab that there and start to bend it around like so. And the last one, again, 22 centimeters, is around about there. So I'll bend that over, and it's supposed to join them together. Obviously measurements have gone a little bit screwy, so I'll just fiddle about. Not too bad. So there we go. Then you put a little bit of glue once you're ready to join those two pieces together. So that's one. Slightly bigger than I thought it was going to be, but there's that. So let's get the other one done. So there we go. There's the other one. So if you need a little bit of tweaking, but I can do that off camera. So these four just literally get folded in half, like this. Got 4 of the pins now, 4 of the table legs. Now, these 2 here, I think it's these 2, there's 2 same length, 1 shorter. So that's the shorter one. So these 2 are 6 millimeters at each end, and they like that shows there. They would sit on the ends here at either end to attach to the tabletop. So 1 more of those. Let's see if they match. One is slightly longer than the other, but the joy is you can fiddle about with that afterwards. So the 2 short strips here, by the looks of it, are attached here and here for the legs to join onto, like so. So again, I'll wait until that's dried. These slot in to these holes here like that. little bit of glue inside them. Now this one gets bent like so. That will sit like that. So I've got that shape. So what I will do now is finish waiting for the glue to set before I start gluing these on, and I'll be right back. I just wanted to show you this. I am really struggling to get them to actually stick for some reason. The first half is working fine, but then trying to get the second bit to attach, you think they're set, so you carefully take it away from this little setup that I've got here to hold it, and it just literally falls off. This is about the third attempt, so fingers crossed it'll work this time. I've actually completely lathered it on. It looks a bit of a mess, but I'm hoping if this time it does actually stick, then any excess I can just carefully remove with some tweezers. So I'll be back shortly. As you can see, I've managed to get them to stick. They're not particularly brilliant. Look a bit of a mess at the moment, but they are stuck. So it's just a case of being very careful with it now. So I'm hoping to try and stick these down. It's finding that balance between too much and not enough. And I found this to be very stringy. Not quite sure what sort of glue it is. Right, let's give it a go with this first one. Hopefully it doesn't all collapse on me again. So hold that as best as I can in place, and I'll be back shortly once this one has set. So that one's stuck now. Now hopefully we'll get this side and we'll do the same again to support it. No, oh no, oh, great. So as you can see, it's come away again there. I'll leave them to set at the bottom and then try and re-glue that afterwards. Back in a sec. Okay, so they're pretty much set as much as they're going to. It looks a bit wonky, unfortunately, but it's the best I can do at the moment, and I've been having a hard time getting them to stay glued together. It's not the best of glue, I have to admit, so I might have to look for alternatives when I come to do the chair next. And once it is properly set, I'll have another look at just trying to dab that a little bit. I'll flip it over and then you'll be able to, so it stands up okay, as long as obviously Can't put any weight on it, it's not designed for weight. But what I will do now is I need to find, there we go, a little bit that hasn't been used yet, and we need to put the last little bit on, which as you can see here is the corner piece, which will sit here. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to get it to stick, but we'll give it a go. So I'll pop that there, because obviously I don't want too much pressure on it. I don't want to overload it with too much glue either. So let's see how we get on. So put my finger there. My finger's too big. So just bear with me. I shall try, gosh, and position that there. And hopefully it will hold them on while the glue dries. But again, I think that's too high as well. I may have to rethink this. I'll be right back. And I'm back. So I popped over to hubby's desk, pinched a spot of super glue, a couple little dabs on either end, and it's stuck no problem. Obviously it'll easily come off if you pull at it, but yeah, the pieces that came off, I've been around and re-glued them, so but yeah, not bad for first attempt. Needs a little bit of a tidy up where I've got a bit frustrated with the glue because it wouldn't stick and went a little bit overboard, but yeah, quite pleased with that for a first attempt. So I hope you enjoyed that little video. Stay tuned and we'll be doing the chair next time. Hopefully not quite as complicated as this one, but now I know that super glue does the trick. It'll make life a little bit easier. I'm not going to throw the glue away though, because further down when it comes to the wood and the paper and everything, it will probably be fine. It's just with these metal bits, it seemed to be really struggling. Until next time, stay safe and keep crafting. Bye for now.